Yeah.
should, for completeness, if you don't mind, also mention the different types of use for the other core market data providers.
Shoot.
So we mentioned rating agencies.
Yeah.
So
Credit rating agencies we're talking about. Yeah.
credit rating agencies. So consumers have the unenviable task of trying to capture where ratings are used within their organizations. And
Yeah.
remember, there's almost often no entitlement system relating to
Yeah.
rating agency data. And then linking it to parameters such as assets under management.
I know. I know
And when you
that.
think about that, where do you put that in an inventory system?
I know. I mean, it's these different concepts were dreamt up, and they seemed sensible when over a cup of coffee they were all being discussed, and then the practicality of it, I know, is enormous angst. So yeah. So
Oh,
credit.
yeah. And then thirdly, obviously, index providers we mentioned.
Yeah.
So you have to understand the family of indices that you're buying. Okay,
Yeah.
that will be an entitlement product, so that's understandable. But you also, as a consumer, you get charged depending on your consumer brand that's using the index. So each consumer will have their own branding names, and each branding name will have to pay an additional fee. That's a different type of use. So where is your consumer brand captured in your inventory system? And then also, this is a common thing, consumers have to, in relation to index providers, have to classify the different business activities.
Okay.
But there is no universal agreed list of what a business activity is, and especially globally. What a vendor in America thinks a business activity is to a consumer in Hong Kong or Germany or the UK may be a very different thing.
Pro non-pro is something that I've heard mentioned a lot. Very different concept in America to Europe and what have you. I mean, I fear, in a good way, that each of those topics is a podcast or more than one. But the complexities I know because FISD has a separate working group just on index data, a separate working group just on the credit ratings. I mean, each of those is a meaty topic just
It's
in its own
absolutely.
right.
And for completeness, we should mention the fourth, which is numbering agencies.
Yeah, which is
And
a
I think you talked to one of your other guests about
well,
that, didn't
Tim
you, Sam?
Baker. Tim Baker's very vocal on all the goings on that have occurred about CUSIP of late. I'm neutral to this whole discussion, but there is an argument going on. There are legal cases going on in America, and again, you were very helpful explaining to me. I think on a trip we had to Frankfurt recently. We've seen a lot of each other, and when we have downtime at those, it's when you could educate me. So thank you for those educational. So, yes,
I think all I said in relation to education is again uh, that for the numbering agency data, you have to, as a consumer, know your different types of use to comply with the license. So you need to know the number of unique identifiers that you're benefiting from, not in fact entitled for, but actually benefiting from. You need
right.
to know the line of business that using that data. And again, then we get this issue of what your source provider thinks is a line of business and what you as a consumer thinks is a line of business. And then you also have to know the number of regions using the data. And remember, this numbering agency data is often unentitled. So how do you capture unentitled numbering agency data that's spreading throughout your organization with those three parameters? Very
And when you
difficult.
use the phrase unentitled, you mean the classic things like DAX or EMRS from Bloomberg don't
Yes, there's
involve
no.
themselves in that.
Well, no, they don't. There's no PDP code to say
Yeah.
permission me for this ISIN code. It's ISIN is just a field associated with the security.
I mean, it's something I'm very conscious there is a big debate on. Again, you can separate the two issues. One is the rights and wrongs of it, and there's a big debate going on, and even a legal case about the quote unquote rights and wrongs. But then just operating under the umbrella of the existing regime is really difficult because the existing regime is complicated. No, again, we need to come back to that because I think we've just touched the surface on those things.